The opinions expressed are those of the program host and guest and are not those of WSTU. WSTU does not endorse products that may be mentioned. Any reproduction or retransmission of this broadcast is strictly prohibited without written consent of WSTU. The phone lines are open. Call in with your questions and comments at 220-9788. That's 220-WSTU. It's time for Stewart Laser Talk with your host, Dr. Tred J. Rizacker.
I'm 5'10" and 242 pounds.
I always say this is the biggest I'm ever going to be, and I said that like 20 pounds ago.
A third of Americans are obese, another third is overweight.
Obesity is the biggest threat to the health, welfare, and future of this country.
I've always been overweight.
I've got diabetes.
Sleep apnea,
Heart disease.
Everything's hurting now.
It's a lot easier to lose weight than it is to keep weight off.
This is probably going to be the first generation of children who are going to have a shorter life expectancy than their parents.
18% of our children right now are obese.
It's not only health, it's about survival and well-being of the United States as a nation.
You don't crave broccoli, and our generation has grown up craving a Big Mac.
I'm going to think that there's something better for me.
Unless we're able to control this epidemic, we're going to have an abundance of chronic disease.
All of us have to be part of the solution to reduce obesity.
The weight of the nation is out of control, but we can fix that.
If we don't now take this as a really urgent national priority, we are all going to pay a really serious price.
Obesity will crush the United States in oblivion.
Welcome to the Slim Body Laser Spa. Just getting my little camera here going. Listen, you can be heard every single Tuesday from 9 to 10 o'clock here on WSTU. That's 1450, and that's an AM station right here in beautiful downtown Stuart, Florida. We're overlooking the Indian, the St. Lucie River and the Roosevelt Bridge. And what a day, what a day. I got a lot of really exciting things to go over here today. And I hope you enjoy it. You know, I always try to bring some good information, something that can help you to handle life better with more effectiveness. You know, to be effective at life is like really, really important in my opinion. So we're going to do our best to do that today. And, you know, my name is Dr. Tred Rizacker, and if you've been struggling with losing weight, if you've been struggling with health problems, maybe fatigue, tiredness, maybe excessive weight gain, you know, life isn't as beautiful as it once was when you were in your youth, and seems like the clock is ticking and, you know, time is running out and we're concerned with how we look and how we feel. Like we don't have enough time in the day. And, you know, we're more concerned about our hairline, losing our hairline than we are just in being happy. And, you know, aesthetic businesses, everybody's going and having their fat sucked and skin tightened and, you know, their lips plumped up, you name it. And what I've come to understand about this obsession or this preoccupation with how much time we have, that we're running out of time in some way, or about that our physical body is somehow in trouble is really due to stress. STRESS, stress. And who would have thought that stress could cause so many health problems? And I'm here to tell you that it is, without a doubt, hands down, number one source of why you might be sick today and why you're experiencing health problems and why you're concerned with how much time you have and also all how you look and how you feel today. It has so much to do with stress. And if you don't understand it, you know, stress is a buzzword that people talk about. And when I educate and do lectures on stress and health and wellness, you know, a lot of people will straight up, I'm under stress, you know, Life is stressful. I'll never lose the stress. The stress is they take it almost like a badge of honor, like a jacket that they wear, not realizing that stress is really a killer of your whole anything that might be positive in your life where you're moving forward and you want to have increased cellular immunity, you want to have longevity in your life, you want to have a nervous system that is peaceful, you want to sleep properly, you want to wake up and be refreshed, you want your bowels to move and evacuate normally, and you want to have a nice normal digestion of desire for healthy foods. You want to have good relationships with people in your life, people you care about, know when to move away. All of this is completely hampered and destroyed by stress. And to not understand how stress affects our body, it would be really since it's the number one killer of humanity, really, is stress and the problems that come with stress. I think it really behooves to really go into this with a little more depth than just, hey, so what, I got stress. I'm going to go over physiologically how stress affects your heart rate, your digestion, your eliminative system, your glandular system, your nervous system. It affects your circulation. It affects your heart rate. It affects the body's ability to repair and to regenerate itself. It affects your thoughts. It just goes on and on. And once you understand a little bit more about the stress response and why we have a stress response, you can understand on what it takes to lessen the stress response, how to moderate it and mediate it so it doesn't kill you, because it will kill you. It can happen real fast, such as a vasospastic disorder in one of your blood vessels. That's where a blood vessel just gets tight, closes down, because stress controls blood flow. And the blood flow that goes to your heart and goes to your lungs and goes to your body can be constricted and can be hampered by stress. And it can close off the artery which feeds blood to your heart when you need it the most because of stress. In medicine, we call it a vasospastic disorder. Vaso meaning vessel. Spastic means spasm of one of your coronary arteries. There's only 4 of them that feed blood to your heart. And you can have stress can create that to happen. Stress also deregulates your gene expression, your body's ability to express health and tissue repair and calmness and improve digestion, to improve heart rate, blood flow. All of these are down regulated when you have chronic stress. And of course, the opposite goes if you can remove the stress, if you can overcome the stress, your nervous system and your body will start to respond in a very favorable, healthy way. And we would call that health, tissue repair, long-term immunity, clear, concise thoughts about the future and where you are in this world, not just what's happening in front of you. You can actually plan weeks and weeks ahead to where you might be and what might benefit you when you are not in stress. Okay. And that means, being able to plan your life, pay your bills, pick a good job, pick the proper spouse or, the right person to spend your life with. These thoughts and ideas take thoughts and time and consideration. And that is not what stress is. Stress is right now in your face. You got to do something. And your body is well designed for that. It's lots and lots of systems to get you out of the fire. The house is on fire. The roof is caving in. The water is rising, and we got to do something now. You know, the tiger is at the watering hole and he just ate your friend. That's stress. And that stress response is something that your body was designed since the beginning of man first crawled around and got on his 2 feet and walked around. The stress response saved his or hers life. It's called the fight or flight. That's what we call the stress response. Now, to understand the stress response, you have to understand your nervous system and how your spinal cord and your nervous system, your brain, and this incredible information system operates. The mode of operandi, they call it, the MO. And so your nervous system, which consists of your brain, your brain stem, your spinal cord, and all of the peripheral nerves that travel from the brain through the spine out to the extremities, out to your toes and your feet, into the organs. And then these nerves go back up to the brain. It's an information highway, which is controlled by the brain. And for the most part, your nervous system controls your heart rate and your digestive tract. There's things that you can control voluntarily, like you can breathe harder, or you could exercise your muscles stronger, or you could, move away or closer to fire or water. You can do these things, but there's other things that are automatic. There's things that you can't control or be aware of. You can influence them, but you can't really control them. And, the first one would be breathing. When you breathe, it's automatic. You don't have to worry that you're going to forget to breathe. It's the system set up that allow you to breathe. And the same thing goes with your heart rate and the digestion of your food. When you eat food, it's assimilated and absorbed and passed out to the body through this autonomic, we call it the automatic or autonomic nervous system. And the autonomic nervous system is that nervous system in your brain and your body, which controls most of your bodily functions, so you don't have to think about it, right? So you had your breakfast this morning, and that food is being digested, it's being assimilated, it's being distributed to all the nutrients are being distributed to all the cells in the body, and you're not thinking about it. That's happening automatically, and that's one of the main features of the nervous system, is to control those autonomic responses, autonomic nervous system. And then there's part of your nervous system which is also voluntary, that we can control, and they kind of lay on top of one another. You could control your breathing by breathing faster and deeper, and you can increase your longevity and health by breathing exercises. Yet breathing is an automatic response that you breathe. If you try stop breathing and watch what happens. Once your CO2 levels rise in your bloodstream, there's a mechanism in your body which causes you to breathe. You'll take a big breath. It's called Shane Stokes breathing, but it's something that, so we can influence some of these autonomic responses through breathing and even heart rate. Your heart is beating at 72 beats per minute, and it's circulating the blood to all the cells and tissues and organs in the body every minute, by the way. That's the heart's mandate to get blood to the entire body every single 60 seconds. Yet you can also improve heart rate and heart function through exercise, through meditation, through breathing exercises. You can also help slow the heart rate down, or you can speed it up. There are things we can influence, is my point, even though the system is autonomic and automatic. So the reason it's important to understand, and I remember being in neuroanatomy when I was a student 30 something years ago, and they told me that your nervous system has two main features. It does two separate things. One is it speeds things up. It makes things work faster. The other one is it slows things down. It makes, it's the opposite of the yin and the yang, the up and down, the hot and cold. Your nervous system is trying to find a balance between fight or flight, which is the active name of the nervous system, the one that protects you from danger. And then there's the feed or breed part of the nervous system. And that nervous system is the one that causes you to be hungry and to be, amorous, like thinking of having sex. Children, feed or breed. It's also the system which repairs the tissue and improves your blood flow. And it produces endorphins and serotonin and growth hormone. That's the feed or breed system. Now we call that, and you don't have to remember this, that is called the parasympathetic system. The parasympathetic, and then you have the sympathetic system. Now you would think the sympathetic system means to be better, but really the sympathetic system is the one that causes you to go faster, speeds up the body, causes the heart rate to increase, causes your blood sugar to pump into the bloodstream so you have high blood sugar in case you need to fight. It also causes you to empty your bowels. Yeah. The sympathetic nervous system, the fight or flight, is preparing you for a battle. And your ancestors, your cavemen ancestors, that battle showed up all the time at the watering hole, getting water for your cave woman told you to get some water for the kids, and you went down to the watering hole with a gourd to scoop up some water, and all of a sudden there's a tiger there. And you want to see the stress response happen? It happens very quickly when the tiger shows up. And this is how it works. You hear it first, and then you see it, and your body produces an adrenaline response. Your cortisol, your kidneys have these two glands over the top of them called the renal glands, the adrenal glands. And these glands are filled with epinephrine and adrenaline, which is a precursor to ramp up all of your systems. When you have a pump of adrenaline goes into your body, you get hyperactive. All of your systems change. You become acutely sensitive to sound. You become super keen with your vision. The adrenaline is creating sensation so you can feel, the sensation is increased, so if there's something close to you or not. It also causes your blood pressure to jack up, to get high blood pressure, because you're going to need the pressure in case you get in a fight. Because remember, this stress response is preparing you for a battle with the tiger. And you need to survive for your species to continue. So the stress response is about fighting and running. It's called the fight or flight. And as a result of that fight or flight, there's a whole bunch of different things that happen to your nervous system, to your body when you're in fight or flight. Things that you might not even realize are creating sickness and ill health, which a lot of people don't know about this, which is why I'm explaining it. So it must be emphasized that the physiological changes associated with acute stress, such as when the tiger is at the watering hole, are absolutely necessary for survival in a stressful environment. If you could not produce these changes, you could not deal with stress and you would die. However, and here's the kicker, guys, we are not designed to be under chronic stress. This is the problem. It's chronic stress that's the problem. The stress response to the tiger or to an instantaneous trauma in your life is super normal and healthy. You need to have it. However, that stress response, when it turns into a daily occurrence, when it happens every single day, morning, evening, when you wake up, when you go to sleep, and it doesn't stop and you keep being in that stressful response, that, my friends, makes you very, very sick. It affects all of your systems, your heart, your lungs, your kidneys, your digestion, your nervous system, your memory, your immune system, your blood clotting system. It's all affected under chronic stress. Again, the stress response is a God-given ability to fight and to adapt to something which is really, really, could kill you. You got to run, you got to fight, you got to get the heck out of there. However, it's not designed for long-term survival. In fact, if you're under chronic stress all the time, since it's increasing your cortisol, since it's increasing your heart rate, since it causes vasoconstriction, since it raises blood pressure, since it increases blood sugar, it's also decreasing HDL and LDLs, it increasing your blood thickness because you might have to have a clot. It's also causing insulin resistance. Chronic stress causes your insulin not to work. Why? Because you don't want to clear the blood sugar if you need it to fight. Also, increased feelings of anxiety, fear, and depression come with chronic stress. So does a decreased short-term memory, an ability to concentrate and learn new material are out the window when you're under stress. Why is that? Because you don't have to think about algebra or paying your bills when you're fighting the tiger at the watering hole. You're not thinking about that. And your energy has to be to survive. It also decreases serotonin when you're under stress, increased adrenaline, which leads to adrenal fatigue, increased sensitivity of sensory systems, including those for pain. Chronic stress causes you to be acutely aware of pain. Why? So you know you were hurt, right? Tiger caught you on the leg and you needed the pain to feel it. It also decreases, it lessens your body's ability to heal and repair, called tissue immunity. Stress is not for long-term healing. It's for blood clotting and to stop the bleeding if you were to be hurt, not preventing disease and germs and bacteria and viruses. It also causes bone loss, muscle and fiber changes. That's chronic stress. This is, again, a situation which your body produces naturally to save you from an immediate threat to your person, your body, your life. And boy, your body is well designed to do that. If it wasn't for that, we never would be here even on this earth at all. Now, the opposite of the stress response is happy days, right? That means decrease in cortisol. When you're under feed or breed, when you're under the nervous system, which is helping you, it's the opposite, the yin and the yang. Remember, the stress response is to save you from death. And the feed or breed, the other nervous system, is there to help you with living life, with digesting food, with lowering the heart rate, with opening up blood vessels so you have more blood supply to your body. It decreases the blood pressure. It lessens the demand on the heart when you're under the feed or breed, which is the parasympathetic nervous system, the one that's relaxing, the calming one, not the stress, the opposite of it. It also decreases it improves the blood pressure. The blood glucose levels drop down. You can lower blood glucose, hyperglycemia, just by meditation and stress reduction. There's so many, everything is the opposite when you're under the parasympathetic. Decreased clotting factors. You don't have to worry about blood clotting because you're not going to bleed. You're not in a fight. And thus your blood gets thinner. And we know the source of thick blood is clotting. And that's why people are put on blood clotting factors. When you're in the happy hormonal process, this parasympathetic, your insulin becomes more effective. It actually works better. So your insulin levels are more effective. So the insulin resistance is decreased. You also have increased feelings of safety, less anxiety, and a more positive outlook on life when you're in the parasympathetic, the opposite of the stress. Your long-term memory improves. You can think clearer. You can think ahead, a week or two ahead, because you might need that to prepare for something. That's the feed or breed. The opposite is stress, where you just can't even think about what's happening right now. The feed or breed, the parasympathetic, also improves cellular immunity. Your immune system is activated and strengthened through not being under stress, through the opposite, being, relaxed and calm. In fact, it's so rare that we have it that it's hard to even name it. Everybody knows what the stress response is, but what's the name for the opposite response? The opposite response is called health, healing, and longevity. That's the opposite. The stress response is, I got to get out of trouble right now, man. That tiger's here and I got to live, and who gives a crap about anything else? I got to run or I got to fight. And then the other nervous system is, I want to live longer. I want to eat better. I want to have better relationships with people. I don't want, I have no fear. I'm not depressed. I'm looking forward to the next day. That's where you want to be. Now, I think I'm pretty clear about this. I could go on. There's books about that. I got a book about it. It's thick. So, what are some of the major killers of our society? Okay, and right now, I'm gonna list them out for you. The major killers of our society. Number one is heart disease, stroke, cancer, diabetes, and the drugs prescribed to treat these diseases. The drugs make us sick also. And what are the major chronic problems that people suffer from? Depression, obesity, anxiety, fatigue, chronic pain, osteoporosis, fibromyalgia, lack of sleep, decreased sex drive, decreased fertility, indigestion, accelerated aging, ADHD. These are all virtually preventable diseases. These are preventable, people. Many cancers journals even admit that virtually all cancers are preventable or lifestyle and immune system related. These are diseases of stress and diseases of lifestyle. Heart disease, stroke, cancer, diabetes. Okay, obesity, depression, ADHD, fibromyalgia, indigestion, preventable diseases. These are diseases of stress and diseases of lifestyle. Now, we know a lot about lifestyle today. Drinking plenty of water, getting exercise, going keto. I mean, there's books and books written on lifestyle changes. Thank goodness we're starting to get more understanding about lifestyle. In fact, lifestyle is really important, but it's not as important as stress, okay? Because stress is a killer. So let me give you a little explanation about why stress is such a killer for humans and why we're at with this. Okay, so, the animal, they all have the stress response also. Deers and animals, they have the stress response. Okay, and what happens is when the deer is eating at the pasture and she's eating the food, and the coyote shows up and chases her to bite her, the stress response kicks on for her. And she becomes, the blood sugar goes up, her blood pressure increases, all the different, her blood clotting gets thicker in case she gets bit by the coyote. And, the serotonin and growth hormone, they go out the window. She empties her bowel because you don't want to fight with a bowel full of poops. So, she gastric emptying, super sensitivity to sounds and vision. And she runs from the coyote. And you know what? She gets away. She makes it away from the coyote really quick. This is all about 20 minutes, man. She gets back to her troop. She gets back to her pack of other deer. And you know what? She doesn't even remember it happened. She's there with her friends, with her deer. They're like, let's go out and eat. Okay, let's go. Let's try again. Let's go out in the field. She doesn't have the ability to remember. She cannot remember the coyote that was there. Now, there's instinctual drives that tell her to be careful and to look out for coyotes, but she can't relive that memory like you can. You see, you can remember the memory. So she goes back to the field and eating again, and body's working properly, and she's absorbing nutrients, and she's having proper hormonal influence, and she's happy to be with her friends out in the field. And then the coyote shows up again. Boom! She runs away, drops her bowels, raises her blood pressure, increases clotting factor. She's worried about time in her body. Now, here's the problem. What if she could go back to her friends and, come out of the field, get to where her friends are, and says, oh my God, I almost got eaten by the coyote today. Oh, you should have seen it. There was 3 of them, and they had very sharp teeth. And one of them tried to bite me, and I was able to get away, but and then it kept chasing me, and every time I go back to that field, I think about that coyote, and now it's got me very upset. So I'm not sleeping very well because I have to go there to eat every single day. I have to go there to eat. You know that, right? And these coyotes, I think that they live there, and they could come after and get me. And so, this is just, I'm terrible. I'm not sleeping well. I'm not eating well. I'm not getting the food that I should have because that's the best grass in town. So now I'm eating things in plastic packs, and you know what? And every single day I wake up, I think about this, and you get where I'm going? You get where I'm going with this? The stress is because you are reliving our nervous system, a human's ability to remember things and to share their feelings and their emotions with others in an attempt to feel like you're part of the group, or that you're having some kind of impact on life, right? You're sharing your story about the fact that darn coyote keeps coming into the field and trying to get deer. You're trying to share it with other people, yet all it does is revivify and reaffirm the stress response in your body. Your body does not know that it is a memory that you've recreated again and again. It just responds to the stress. Yet there is no coyote there. It's gone. We call this a personality disorder. Okay. Well, you know what happened to me? Let me tell you. When I was 30 years old, I got hit in that accident and I'll never be the same. Nope. It shook me up and I lost my job and I broke my leg. And yeah, I know it's healed, but I think about it every time I get in the car. I can't get in that car without thinking about it. You're living it. You're reliving the memory instead of moving on. Now, I'm not saying that we shouldn't remember, we should forget everything we've ever learned. That's not what I'm saying here. But it's unhealthy to live in a stressful response. Most of the time is very unhealthy because it creates all of the problems, the major killers of society. It is. Now, I'll give you, so you might be listening to this saying, well, I'm not under stress, Doc. Come on. I'm not under stress. Why would you say that? Well, let me tell you. Here's the first example of a human that's under stress. All right. And you're going to think this is funny, but when a human comes in and they say to me or anybody, I don't have enough time. Time is running out for me. I don't have enough time in the day. I don't have enough time to pick up everything I need to do. I'm overwhelmed. I feel like I'm never getting things done. Okay. You're worried about time. And the other sign that you're under chronic stress is you're worried about your body. Now I don't mean like worried in a healthy way, like you should be eating better. I mean, you're worried about my hair is getting thin. My nails aren't attractive anymore. I don't like the way my stomach looks. I want to improve my face by having it pulled back. I want to get rid of these wrinkles. You become preoccupied with your body image. And the other one is you become super sensitive that you're running out of time. Now, in the animal kingdom, that desire to get away from stress is exactly the only thing the animal is concerned with is I don't want to get hurt. It's going to hurt my body. And how the heck can I get out of here? I need time to get out of here. Those are how animals respond. A human responds with, I don't have enough time in the day. I'm always running out. I have to run here. I got to go there. I got to speed. I got to cut this guy off. If you only knew what I'm going through, this is stress. And they're very concerned about how they look, aesthetically, not so much how healthy they are. And that's, those are the Ozempic and the plastic surgeries and all the crazy stuff you see that humans are doing to the lip fillers and, it's bizarre, but that's the stress response. So what do we do about it? What do we do about the stress response? By the way, there's whole years of lectures on what to do about the stress response. But here's the truth. The first thing that you have to do to realize to lessen the stress response is know you're there. Is learn about it. Learn about the stress response. What does it mean to be under stress? And one of the ways is your symptoms. How are you feeling? Is your blood pressure elevated? Is your blood sugar high? Are you having stiffness in your back? Is your sex drive in the tube, in the toilet? Are you feeling like you're not connected to people? Are you feeling like you're alone? Are you feeling like I have not enough time left to do all the things I need to do, that nobody's listening to you, or, you're in anxiety about whatever it is? This is the stress response in humans. This is how we experience it. And knowing about it is like, I know this is hard to believe this, but knowing it and refusing to be in it is a hugely effective at reducing stress. So the first thing you would do is you would remove yourself from the source of stress. So if you're at the field eating grass and the coyotes are there all the time, go to another field. Get away from that stressor. Okay? And we could use that as, for most people, the stressor is the news, is the political cycle that you see running through again and again. You want to have stress, put on the news. Take a position. Put yourself on the end of the pole. You know, good or bad, black or white, hot or cold. I like this, I don't like this. That's the stress response. Because you're putting yourself, you're judging everything based on how it affects you. And that will create the chronic stress. And you can, because we remember everything that goes through past our eyes, we remember it all. You can watch something and relive that image and that experience every single time you choose to think about it. You might even have taken pictures of it, like the last car accident you were in. Got to show people the car. Hey, look what happened to me. Look at my car. Oh my God. Yeah. You could also put on the news before you get up in the morning. Listen to the latest headlines. Is it really important? Can you really change the outcome? Or are you just being played like a flute, like a musical instrument? Because they know, whoever they is, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but medicine and doctor, they know that people that are under chronic stress, if you can keep them fear, if you can keep them in pain, if you can keep them not knowing, right from wrong, this cognitive dissonance that they create by saying that men can have babies and women are men, and and just on and on and on. This puts you in an enormous amount of stress and strain, eventually causing high blood pressure, high blood sugar, a need for serotonin medications, a need for Ozempic. It just never ends. The drugs and the systems that are treating you because of your inability to let go of stress and to focus on healthy, good ideas versus fear and pain and anxiety is what really is the cause of most illness and sickness. So be aware of it. That's the first thing. Number 2 is remove yourself from the source of stress. Quit going to the same place if they're hurting you. Move away from it, or intelligently adapt, because we have the ability to adapt. Maybe it's a spouse, maybe it's your child, and your duty and your obligation is to be there. You can't just cut and run. You better learn to adapt. You got to get trained, be able to bring in some new ideas to try to remove that problem. But the other thing that works very well is a lot of things that most people are aware of, and that would be mindfulness, meditation, mindfulness. But I would tell you that selecting your friends, selecting where you get your information, where where you're getting all the content from that drives your desires and your dreams and where you want to be in life. You need to make good choices when it comes to that. If you're if you're a young man and you're growing up and you see the people that, let's say they're athletes, let's say that the people that play football or the basketball stars, and your goal is to become a basketball star, but you're 5'2" and you got little hands, and you're probably not going to be a star yet. That's been your goal and dream, and you're going to be called short on that. You got to put yourself in situations that behoove you, that where you can improve yourself, not where you're feeling always less than. I remember being a young doctor, and I had spent one of my friends invited me to go out to the Four Seasons Resort down in Miami, Turnberry, I think it was, Turnberry Isle. Dude, these people were mega millionaires. And I was young, and I remember going there as a young doctor, and I just started working, and I had a whole bunch of student loans to pay back. And I went in there, and as I started, because I was still impressionable, I was not old like I am today. I realized that I have nothing in common with these people. I could try, I could act like I do and enjoy the day. And, they paid for the dinner and paid for the whatever. But I said to myself, this is not probably where I need to be at this point in my life, because I got a big resentment. What happened to me? Why didn't I have a chair to move into as soon as I got out of college like this person? I didn't go to Yale. I went to Martin County. That I started to realize it was better for me to avoid this kind of lifestyle where I was in my life. And that removed the stress for me. And so, prayer is, people that are God-centered in their life, people that have belief in a proper order of the universe, that there's hope and faith and that we're moving to a better world, which is, a lot of what religion does. People that have God in their life or have religion and have an understanding of it usually have less stress than those who are not. And that's just been proven out over time. So having a good belief, people that respect and honor their relationships with friends and people, they have the golden rule, do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. They have less stress because they treat people the way they'd like to be treated. And that's huge. And the other thing is they stay away from gossip, criticism, and slander. People that are balanced, healthy-wise, they're not gossiping. They're not spreading the worst possible story that they saw on Facebook yesterday. Did you see that accident? Oh my God. Car flipped over, crushed the people inside. They got squished. I saw it. I got a picture. I could show it to you. The 100-mile-an-hour Tesla crash. Man. You want that image in your head the rest of your life? I don't. I learned that. My mom taught me that as I was a little kid. We were on the New York Thruway, and there was a horrible accident right at the gate where the people go in to collect the tickets. Fire, boom, explosion. My mom freaked out and wouldn't, and she didn't let any of us see it. I mean, if she could have put the black up windows up, she would have. We were not, like some people, they'll go right to the accident to look at it and watch it. My mom, she understood. That's the last thing I want in my child's head is the fact that cars blow up and turn into flames. That's the stress response. All right. My name is Dr. Tread Rissacker, and I am trying to help people to be healthier and to live longer. And, I really believe a lot in what I just told you about this stress response. There is a really great book for it. You can see it here. I'm going to hold it up in front of the camera. I didn't make this stuff up. But go out and look into it. There's a doctor named by the name of Dr. Joseph Dispenza, Joe Dispenza, Dispenza, and he talks a lot about the stress response and how it makes us sick over time. And also Dr. James Chestnut, he's an MS, Master in Science, and a really smart guy. And he taught me a lot about these principles of the stress response and how important it is to where it comes from. And Google it. Go to Chat GPT and put OpenAI and put in, could you explain the difference between the stress response between the two nervous systems, the parasympathetic and the sympathetic? And also understand that being under chiropractic care getting adjustments to your spine, they reduce the stress response. And I'm going to summarize that really quick here because I only got a few minutes. So remember, the fight or flight is what the stress response is. So that requires you to either fight or run. And that is the way most of your ancestors dealt with stress. They ran away from it, or they fought it and they died, or they didn't survive, but they got away from it. So with that said, when you move muscles, within your skeletal system, within your body are proprioceptors. They're called nociceptors. These are little tendon or apparatuses which wrap around your muscle fibers. And when you start contracting and moving muscles, they send messages to your brain to shut down the stress response. So moving shuts off the stress response because you're running or you're fighting. And we can parlay that into exercise. So that's why people that exercise often have less health problems, because they're handling the stress response. So does massage. Massage helps with those proprioceptors and sends messages up to the brain to modulate and to shut off the stress response. So does chiropractic adjustments. The amount of proprioceptors in your leg muscles, in your skeletal muscles, let's say there's 100 of them. When you go to your spinal column between those vertebrae and all those little muscles, there's like 10,000 of them. That's why chiropractic adjustments reduce stress. They reduce blood pressure. They give the healing effect. Meditation, exercise, good sleep, getting uninterrupted sleep is really important, and also drinking lots of water. Okay, my name is Dr. Tread. I own the Slim Body Laser Spa. If you've just tuned in, come on in. I can get that fat off real easy. Lay on your back, listen to music. We apply a red light, low-level laser. 9 sessions in 3 weeks. You can lose 3 to 4 inches in girth. I went from a 40 waist to a 36 waist, you guys, in like 3 to 4 weeks. Been doing this for 15 years. You want to give it a shot. My name is Dr. Tread, 772-223-5885. I'm located on East Ocean Boulevard, right across the street from the Fresh Market, next to Carmela's Pizza. Free consultations. We always have free consultations. If I can help you, I'll be totally honest with you. Hey, and thank you for sharing and letting people know about this. I will see you next week. God bless. Thank you so much.